Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For today, I'll be rating every specialist in Battlefield 2042 by using a tier list. If you're not familiar with the format, all you need to know is S tier specialists are broken and F tier specialists are useless and should be avoided, especially if you're looking for a competitive advantage. Of course, I will provide a better description for each tier as we go through them. At the moment, there are 10 specialists to pick from. Each one has a unique speciality, which comes in the form of a gadget, and they all have a trait, which is more of a passive ability. Unfortunately though, I won't be ranking Dozer and Pike. Dozer recently had his riot shield removed. I'm not entirely sure why this is. Maybe there was some sort of game breaking bug, and I just haven't unlocked Pike yet. But honestly, I wouldn't mind if she was perma-locked because her abilities do seem a bit too cheesy. That said, there's plenty of incredible options to choose from, and I'm hoping this video can filter out all the bad ones for you. Do keep in mind though, my list is purely subjective, and since it's very early days, I'm more than open to changing my mind. So it's alright to disagree, and I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. As always, feel free to leave a like if you do end up finding this video helpful, and subscribe for more of the same content. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. F tier. These specialists are underpowered and should be avoided if you're looking to top the scoreboard. For this category, I've chosen Navin. He's a recon soldier that specializes in hacking. His cyber suit enables him to disable enemy hardware and effectively scramble their weapons for a short period of time. So he's really handy at disabling countermeasures for tanks and helicopters before attempting to take them down. Outside of hacking enemies, Navin can trigger base defenses such as bollards and raised bridges if that's something you're into. One thing I've noticed though is once you've hacked a base defense, from then on it will automatically make way for allies and doesn't require any more interactions. But honestly, I couldn't find that many interesting base defenses to trigger. Also, triggering these defenses isn't exclusive to Navin, which is quite weird to be honest. Anyone can just walk over and interact with the tablet, so apart from the subtle advantage you get from hacking, I don't see this particular ability adding much value, especially when compared to other specialists. His passive trait is called Trojan Network, and this basically gives him valuable information. For instance, downing a hacked player will reveal nearby enemies. However, if no one happens to be nearby, well, you've just spent 5 seconds hacking into that player for no reason at all. This happened a lot during my playtime, and it feels like you're not rewarded for the effort. Other than 3D spotting and highlighting players, having to completely disarm myself when hacking is far too great of a risk. This will often leave you open to counterattack, and in fact on many occasions lead to your death. Overall, I think Navin takes far too long to hack into players, and once he's done hacking, the duration doesn't last long either. So if you're not quick enough, the effort often goes unrewarded. For those reasons, I wouldn't pick Navin unless I'm specifically targeting helicopters or just sitting back and wanting to 3D spot players. If I could make any changes to Navin, I would slightly increase the duration a player's hacked to give players enough time to follow up, but that's all to be honest. Apart from Navin, I don't think the remaining 7 specialists are bad in any way, so I'll be skipping the next tier. Moving straight into D tier, these specialists are below average and stray from the current meta. For this category, I've chosen Casper. He's got a recon drone that's really useful for scouting ahead and is capable of 3D spotting players. You get about 5 XP per target, and assists do count towards kills as well, but I'm not sure if that's enough to farm XP to be honest. 3D spotting on breakthrough is pretty powerful as well and can give your team a massive advantage. That said, the proc sensor does do the exact same thing and can be resupplied from an ammo crate and is obviously much harder to spot and notice. So I don't see why you'd want to pilot a drone that's much larger, much slower and easier to hit. Fortunately though, the drone can set off an EMP blast, which is actually very useful for disabling tanks, helicopters, sentry guns and much more. The only problem I had with it is the effects of the EMP don't last very long, so you can't really pull out your launcher and immediately try to destroy that tank. By the looks of things, the lock-on range is much shorter than it was during the beta as well, so you've got to get really close now and take much more risk to get the EMP off. Again, like with the proc sensor, I don't see why you're not better off with an EMP grenade instead of the EMP drone. Movement sensor is his passive trait, and this basically alerts him to approaching enemies and is active at all times, even when piloting the drone. It's a great indicator for knowing when to bail out. However, unlike the high alert perk in Warzone, the sensor doesn't have a directional indicator, so unless you're playing on a very linear mode, it's actually very hard to tell where danger may appear from. At times, being hyper alert and not knowing where to look can actually distract you in a gunfight, so depending on your FPS experience, it may actually hurt you more than it helps. Overall, Casper is great at scouting with minimal risk, but the reality is the EMP grenade and the proc spore can practically do the same job for much less. Sundance can carry both of these at the same time without being locked to a drone, so for those reasons I wouldn't go out of my way to pick Casper, but I don't think he needs a buff at all. I just think his playstyle isn't very appealing and I don't think anything will change that. C tier. These specialists are great at what they do but aren't very versatile. For this category I've chosen Boris. He's an engineer soldier with a sentry gun that engages nearby enemies. The sentry does have this warhack like ability just like we've seen with Pike, but since you're mostly stationary and static, it doesn't feel anywhere near as cheesy. Also, enemies can counter the turret by staying out of range or destroying it. I'm not entirely sure of the extent of his reach, but to me it does feel sufficient enough and certainly doesn't need more range. If you're ever playing Boris and you feel the need to move locations, the sentry gun can be easily picked up too, and I found that it works best when placed around cover where you can just hide and let the turret do the job. Sentry Operator is the name of his passive trait, and this just makes the sentry gun more effective and powerful the closer you are. You do need to be inside the circle though to activate his passive trait, and the only few downsides I can think of is his sentry gun can easily be destroyed and is vulnerable to EMPs. Overall, Boris is tailored for passive players that like to lock down specific areas on the map. Defending on breakthrough is where I found him to be most effective, where the area of battle is consistent and predictable. I think he's perfectly balanced right now and doesn't require any attention. The second specialist in this category is Irish. He's an engineer soldier capable of placing deployable cover and a trophy system. The former is a great tool for building cover in open areas, and the latter is exceptional at intercepting explosives and missiles. However, you can only place 2 items at once, one of each or 2 of the same, so placing a third gadget will despawn a previously placed item. That said, it's got a fairly fast replenish rate, so you won't go punished for too long if you do end up deploying the wrong cover. One thing to keep in mind though is cover won't deploy on slanted areas such as hills and uneven surfaces. So be wary of where you decide to fortify, otherwise you're going to end up dying from attempting to place one down. Also, did you know Irish can block lifts with his shield? I wasn't aware of this until recently, but I'm sure DICE will end up patching this at some point. His passive trait is called Veteran, and this results in downed enemies dropping armor plates. Each pickup only grants you 5 HP though, so you'll need to down 4 opponents before reaching max armor level. Sounds great, but in practice, moving around from hard cover to get 5 HP isn't really worth it. Most of the time, I just ended up losing health when attempting to loot the floor of armor. Overall, I think Irish caters to a very similar playstyle to that of Boris and excels at fortifying areas. I don't think he needs a rework or any kind of tweaking. B tier. These specialists are great but imperfect. For this category, I've chosen Sundance. Probably the most fun specialist in 2042, and that's all down to her wingsuit. The wingsuit is deployable from about any height and comes really handy for rotating around the map. Incredibly good for flanking and in general catching players off guard, whether that be in close quarters or from a distance. The ability to glide at a ridiculously fast speed makes you a very hard target to hit. Oftentimes enemies won't even see you coming and the hang time is just something else. The verticality of 2042 plays right into the hands of Sundance, and they are best used on maps with plenty of high rises like Kaleidoscope and the sand map. I've got no idea what it's called. Not to mention Sundance has access to smart explosives made up of 3 different grenades: the scatter grenade, the EMP grenade and the anti-armor grenade. The latter is absolutely devastating against helicopters. The former is a multi-kill machine when thrown in the right places, and the EMP is just really handy against enemy gadgets. Overall, Sundance is a highly capable specialist that requires some skill to master. Conquest Large is their ideal home where boundaries are less strict, so if you're a player that tends to flank a lot and like to use movement to your advantage, Sundance is your go-to specialist. At this moment of time, I wouldn't nerf or buff Sundance. A tier. These specialists are exceptionally good and dictate the meta. First up, we have McKay. He needs no introduction, but if you aren't familiar with him already, he's an assault player with unrivaled mobility. His grappling hook can pretty much get you anywhere on the map and reach inaccessible areas such as rooftops, radio towers, and much more. Most objectives on 2042 have some sort of verticality, and having the high ground on your opponent can lead to devastating streaks. For these reasons, McKay is ideal for aggressive players looking to frag with style. Nimble is the name of his passive trait, and this enables him to move faster when aiming down sight. Apparently it's as fast as his hipfire strafe speed, which is quite insane. The extra strafe speed is really advantageous during gunfights and can easily be the difference between winning and losing. Additionally, if you're a keyboard and mouse player, you'll benefit more from the extra strafe speed. From my experience, the strafe speed totally breaks and throws off controller aim, so if you're a PC player looking to farm in crossplay lobbies, McKay is the right guy for the job. If I could make any changes to him, I would perhaps nerf the strafe speed a tiny bit, which I know is very controversial, and add more destructible buildings so that players on roofs can be countered. The other specialist in this category is Falk. She's essentially your traditional medic that can heal and revive anyone back up to full HP. Even though they've removed the ability to revive with the Surette pistol, she's still nowhere near useless. Since the beta, DICE have indirectly buffed her by nerfing health regen and also sped up the rate of healing for her pistol. Besides that, being able to bypass the healing animation is really handy for when you're on the move and can't afford to slow down. However, there are a few downsides though. One of those is not being able to heal teammates effectively, and the other is having to disarm yourself when healing. This results in a clunky healing system at times and does take some time to perfect. At this point, you're probably wondering what makes Falk so good, and that's the ability to couple self-heal with armor. I found her to be far more efficient than any other specialist who can carry both armor and health. One of the reasons is the medical crate lacks mobility and takes quite a while to recharge. So having 120 HP at a more frequent rate is essentially a get out of jail free card and will guarantee you a win in most gunfights, as long as you're on target of course. For those reasons, Falk is my go-to specialist. Not only is she really powerful in the hands of aggressive players, she can also play a vital part in helping your team to victory. Overall, she's in a pretty good spot right now, and I don't think she needs any further balance changes. And finally, S tier. These specialists are sublime and overpowered. For this category, I've chosen Angel. He's got the ability to resupply ammo, armor, and call in a supply crate that can resupply you and your team with custom loadouts. You start off with 3 armor plates with ammo attached to them, and the replenish rate is incredibly fast and forgiving. It's even faster than the ammo crates at resupplying ammo. However, your gadget won't refill though. But the supply drop will sort you out with unlimited launchers if that's something you're interested in. More importantly, when you start to combine the ammo and armor with a med crate, Angel essentially has unlimited ammo, unlimited health, and unlimited armor minus the animation. Unlike the armor plates, you can just walk over them and rearm instantly. For these reasons, Angel is hands down the best specialist in 2042, and we haven't even covered his passive ability. Trauma Specialist is his trait and basically turns Angel into a super medic that can revive up to 120 HP. That's stronger than Falk's revive and essentially makes his entire team invincible. Just a few Angels on a team can really screw with the TTK and make it a nightmare for your opponents. The only downside I can think of right now is the med crate isn't very suitable for super aggressive players, but if the med pen works like I think it does, being able to heal on the move on top of everything else I've mentioned, I can see him being the next McKay, if you know exactly what I mean. Overall, Angel is a self-reliant machine that can pretty much do it all. He may not be as fun to use compared to the other specialists, but if you're looking to frag and win matches, Angel is your go-to specialist. If I had to make any changes to him, I would probably increase the responsiveness of the supply bags. At times, it just feels like walking over one doesn't register properly, and maybe nerf the recharge rate on the loadout crate as well. That thing just keeps dropping and you can just have unlimited drops forever. And that's all about it for today. I hope I've given you guys a better insight on all the specialists in 2042 and where they all fit. If you think I've misplaced any of them, then share your thoughts down below in the comments. Leave a rating on the video and I'll see you later. Take care.